All right, hello guys, welcome. I do not know what number this is. We are trying to change a little. What are you telling me?
Number 7.
Oh, I'm being told this is number 7. So there you go. This is number 7. I'm trying to get better. I was not happy with the last one that we did. I realized that the basic core of what I have to teach, you can arguably just watch the first 2 or 3 of these and be done. So I'm going to try to adjust a little bit and see if I can flow a little bit stronger and put a little more wisdom and effort into studying and preparing. So I don't want to get cocky. I put in about 2.5 hours last night, but I will continue to get a feel for what I'm doing and do better. If this goes too long, we will stop in the middle and finish next week. But I do have good notes. I hope I am not just reading the whole time, but if I am, please forgive me. There are 2 types of sales. A, where you are guiding someone to make the right decision by giving them instruction and knowledge and wisdom. Simply put, the best type of sales, it is your job to guide them. Persuade, if you like that word better, but you are trying to give them enough knowledge, enough wisdom, and I love that word because it is the right word to make the right decision. The second is a con man. Confidence man, whatever you want. You're running a con. I'm not insulting that. I'm not judging that. I've run enough cons in my life to not get overly cocky and arrogant. But that is the second type of sales. The rest fall under one flow of those 2 subcategories. They don't have to be evil one way or the other, but on the whole, a con is, whether you want to admit it or not, if you don't believe in your product, you're conning somebody. If you don't like what you're selling, if you don't know what you're selling, and all you're trying to do is to get them to do what you want them to do to put money in your pocket, we're going to drop that in the category of con. Now, that can be immoral, unethical, total absolute theft, manipulation, or it can just be you know that you have a far inferior product with worse service, worse quality, and higher price, and you're going to do all you can to pressure somebody to buy it just because you got to make a living. I've been there, I've done that, but that is kind of what we're talking about here. Luckily for us, we have the world's greatest mousetrap. We have the best product in the world, and we truly can bless people's lives. So the question continues to be how to sell it. Place it has been my best source of sales knowledge, study, and understanding, and yes, I do a lot, and yes, I can tell you a lot of good speakers to listen to and books to read, etc. But the best one for me my whole life has been reading the Bible. The Bible is a sales book. Holy Scripture is one long continued sales pitch. I could get lost here and roll on and go on a fun little rant, but I won't just for sake of time. It begins with the meaning of life. Scripture ends with the ultimate end of all life. And everything from beginning to end is an attempt to sell you on making the right decision, i.e., a guide to make the right decision by giving you instruction and knowledge and wisdom. In other words, sales. So for today, I want to study some bits from the ultimate book of wisdom teaching, Proverbs. Not shocking there. Quick side note, if you have never read the book of Proverbs, I would like to ask you to do so today. Read 1 chapter a day. Read 1 chapter a day. Proverbs is 31 chapters long. You're going to finish it in a month. Do that for 3 straight months, and you're going to have changed your life. You will have more knowledge. You will have more wisdom. You will have more understanding. You will have more depth. I guarantee you, purely from a sales standpoint, you absolutely positively will be a better salesperson at every level that it can be taught at all. 1 chapter a day, open it up, read it. It's fun. You're going to be amazed. Your 3rd month through, you're going to be amazed at what you're catching that you didn't the first time. There you go. That was my little side note. All words are a type of proverb. You can be as plain spoken as possible, and some folks will misunderstand you. How many times have you heard a client repeat back to you what you said and wonder if they were in a different daggum room? It is amazing what people hear. Sometimes just because they can't follow the flow. Sometimes you are speaking a different language. Sometimes, as has happened to y'all while watching this, your mind has wandered down a different track. When you come back, your mind doesn't want to admit that it missed it, and it fills in the holes, not always with what you want them to have said. It is a struggle. Getting people to hear what you want them to hear can be a headache. You've just got to follow along. We are going to pause and go back to this. Proverbs chapter 1, verses 2 through 6. And yes, I'm going to read it. To know wisdom and instruction, to discern the sayings of understanding, to receive instruction in wise behavior, righteousness, justice, and equity, to give prudence to the naive, to the youth, knowledge and discretion. A wise man will hear and increase in learning, and a man of understanding will acquire wise counsel. To understand a proverb and a figure, the words of the wise and their riddles. We see that the purpose of teaching is to instruct. Now, at some level, it is required that the person hearing have either some core base of wisdom or at least a desire to gain from it. Let me say that again. It is assumed at some level the person you are teaching and instructing has some core basis of wisdom or a desire to receive it. You cannot ask any person who spent their whole life as a preacher trying to spread the gospel. You can't force it on folks, no matter how hard you try. Same as yours. You can't cram it down their throat. From this fact, we learn not to get worried over the idiot client. And yes, I'm going to use that word. If I offend you, I apologize. You all know the one I mean. The one that opened up to questions, at least one will ask, well, how do I sell the prospect who doesn't believe we can save him money? Or my last prospect said he can find a builder to do it for less. Why should he hire us? You're going to run into that client that's going to ask you those stupid questions. Don't get lost on the idiot. Don't let that guy beat you up. Don't let him destroy you. Don't lose your faith in yourself and what you do. Well, that's just ridiculous. Me and my father built a house just 2 years ago for $32 a foot. Materials are more than that. You know they're lying. Or they just want to argue. You're going to have those people. Idiots love to argue. Again, ask any poor preacher that's had that guy come in that's just angry and wants to argue and prove how smart he is. You have better things to do. Brush the dust off your sandals, send that guy on down the street, and move on. It'll truly, literally just exhaust you if you have to sit through that. Don't let the idiot client claim you. The kicker of that is this. If you get these types of idiot clients a lot, then it is safe to assume that the problem lies not with them, but with you. That is a very important side note. Any of y'all that want to call me and discuss, and well, I've got an every single thing, you've got nothing but excuses. We've reached a point, because trust me, there's not that many idiots in the world seeking you out. The problem comes back and it ends up being with you and not with them. Either you are turning wise people into idiots, or your marketing is drawing idiots to you exclusively. That can be done. I've known a number of guys in the furniture or car business where marketing is huge and they advertise big pushes. Look, if what you're advertising is free hot dogs and balloons and a bouncy ride, you're not exactly bringing in savvy shoppers that are looking for wisdom and knowledge and how to do it. If the way you're getting people to come in and talk to you is you're advertising free giveaways and here's a free salad and come by and we're going to give you a coffee mug and a $50 giveaway thing. You're not advertising to somebody that wants to come in to gain wisdom, to gain knowledge, to try to learn more, to be able to be guided through making a wiser decision. You're getting somebody that wants free garbage. That is not going to give you a proper look. Worry about your marketing. At the same time, some of you have gotten so caught up in the negatives and hearing them that you are turning wise people that want to hear good things into idiots. It's not that hard. You get negative, as great Zig Ziglar says, you get stinking thinking, and you go into it, well, they're going to say I'm too high, or they're going to tell me there's 20 builders that'll do it for less. Guess what? You're going to get that person to tell you there's 20 builders that'll do it for less, yada, yada, yada. You have got to look at yourself. Now, my point, going back over this briefly, getting one once in a while is life. It's part of it. It's what happens. If you're getting them constantly, you've got to look at you and figure out what you're doing wrong. Goal is to know, to give prudence to the naive, discretion, increase in learning, Understanding, then, it is important to have a good teacher who uses the right phrases, words, and mannerisms. Everyone had that teacher, usually a history teacher, that was so boring, put you to sleep, worst in the world. I mean, I don't care what they were teaching. They could be teaching the battles at Carthage, and it was dull. You've all bought a history book and read it and couldn't make it through a chapter. It was a cure for insomnia. But most of you, if not all of you, hopefully all of you, have also had that teacher that made it come alive. You went through and all of a sudden you got that history teacher that was like, wow. An A was a foregone conclusion. You couldn't wait to get to the class. It was simple. This man or woman got up and they taught it with passion and they gave it life and they gave imagery and they talked about the Battle of Carthage and you were there. You could see the blood. You thought about the soldiers. What did they think? Why did they do this? What was life like? You start putting yourself into their situation, and the only difference was the way it was taught. You'd hand those two people the exact same test book, and this guy's going to put you to sleep every time, and this one is going to spin a story out of it that just fascinates you and leaves you passionate for life, honey, more. Shockingly, my daughter had it happen with the science class. I didn't know it was capable of having a good science teacher. She did. She had one that made biology so exciting she couldn't wait to go. Straight A was a cakewalk. It was fascinating. It was a great teacher. I've had them in English. I've had the English teacher that, diagramming a sentence. And I'd have the one that would come and read a poem every day and start it off with such passion and emotion and inflection to her voice that it was just exciting. You'd never miss class. You'd have guys ditching for a weekend to go skiing and you'd make up some excuse why you couldn't because you didn't want to miss class. Be that teacher. Be that person that, if anything makes the idiots wise, definitely doesn't make the wise idiots. Learn to use your voice. Use the right words. Learn to say it with passion. If you have to practice in front of your mirror, do so. Absolute jumping off track side note. If you have never practiced speaking in front of a mirror, do so. The old Bugsy Siegel's 7 dwarves took turns turning handstands on the carpet has value. Learn to enunciate. And yes, I know I've got a little bit of an accent. But still, if you ever feel you're not communicating well, you're not getting it through to people, go back to the drawing board, start over, go stand in front of a mirror, practice your words, remember to shape your lips to get them out correctly, and you will always speak more clearly. People will respect and respond to that. As a side note, back to where we were. You must make the prospect come alive with the information you have to give. He needs to be excited about it. He needs to be consuming the wonderful facts that you are giving him rather than doubting him. There are 2 different ways to say it. One is going to make them doubt you and question. The other is going to be excited about the incredible opportunity you're giving. Ways to do this. Number 1, examples. It proves knowledge. If you have examples to put in front of a client, that takes away the doubt and the question, the fear. The second, words. Sound like you know what you're talking about. But more importantly, use words that your client can understand. This is so important, especially you guys that are actually bothering to watch this on video, that historically are builders. Drop a big word now and then. Drop a cornice. Drop a whatever. I don't care. Use a technical word now and then. Shows a little expertise. But I promise you, if you are dropping them every day, if you are speaking as if you were talking to a subcontractor, if you were speaking as if you were talking to a builder, what you're going to have is a client that's going to look and nod, and you're going to think you had the best presentation ever, and all they're doing is they don't want to be humiliated by admitting they have no idea what you were talking about. So they're going to nod affirmatively to look positive and intelligent, and they're going to go along, and they're not getting you at all. Use words they understand. Simplify it. Talk to them, which by the way is exactly what they are, as if they are your 8-year-old son or daughter coming to work with you and you're wanting to educate them on what you do. If you're going to say the word cornice, follow it up with what it is. Better, don't even say the word, say what it is, and then if you want to call it that, go ahead. they're going to view you as a teacher. And guess what? It's what we sell. It's what we do. Beware using overly technical jargon. You don't realize you're doing it. You don't know this is your everyday words, but they are, and you need to get rid of them. Communicate with them on their level in a way they can understand. They will subconsciously reject you if they don't have that kind of communication. Number 3 is trust. This is huge. The client must trust you. The best way to gain that trust is to learn about them. People trust those who know them. Believe it or not, people will trust their enemy if that enemy truly knows them intimately. Now here's the crazy part. People want to be known intimately. They will give you everything, and I mean their innermost secrets, if you will just ask and listen. That is the secret. Shut up and listen. I want to go back over that again because it is so important. One of the bestest ways to sell someone is to gain their trust. The best way to gain someone's trust is to know them intimately. It's shocking how easy people will give you this. We are a lonely, lonely society. We are created with a certain insecurity in our nature. If someone asks about us and shows interest in us, guess what they just told us? They just told us they're a genius. You look at me and you ask about me with respect and you want to know about me and you are fascinated with what I'm saying. You know all I'm hearing inside? You are the most brilliant person in the world because you are smart enough to realize how amazing I am and you're smart enough to want to know me. Obviously, I am the greatest person in the world. You are a friggin' genius. How can I not trust you as well? Invest the time in getting to know them. Invest more time in getting to know them than you do yourself. The average person is dying to tell them about yourselves. Now, you can't handle it like they're just a retarded child. There's got to be some guide. Use some wisdom here. We'll do that another day. But shut up, listen, and ask, and follow where they're leading. So my favorite verses, Proverbs chapter 1, verses 20, 21, and 33. Wisdom shouts in the streets. She lifts her voice in the square. At the head of the noisy street, she cries out. At the entrance of the gates in the city, she utters her sayings. He who listens to me shall live securely, and will be at ease from the dread of evil. Again, sales. But at this stage, we're talking about advertising, or if you prefer the term, marketing. By the way, you didn't realize God was doing a lot of advertising and marketing. He's giving you a lesson here. Listen, you have to advertise. You have to market. You must shout in the street and get people to listen to you so you can share the knowledge and wisdom with them so they can live securely and be at ease. Yes, take this and apply it to spreading the gospel. I love you. God bless you. Please do. Here we're taking this wisdom and applying it to us. Get out and shout in the streets. God, who's got the greatest gift in the world. In this case, we're just talking depth of knowledge and wisdom, but you know where that leads, a relationship with Him. Greatest, easiest, best free gift in the world. Even He has to get out and shout and scream in the streets to get people to listen. If God's going to do it, it doesn't hurt for you to do the same. And I am not being sacrilegious here. I guarantee you I'm not. I don't care how you advertise. If you are literally going out in the street to shout, do it. But get to folks, reach them, and then teach them. Proverbs chapter 3, verses 27 through 28. Do not withhold good from those to whom it is due, when it is in your power to do it. Do not say to your neighbor, go and come back, and tomorrow I will give it when you have it with you. Let's talk about this for a minute. Prospects go from hot to cold so fast it will make your head spin. Anyone who doesn't believe this has never been on a date. If you do the wrong thing, you can turn a hot prospect cold fast. If you have a prospect who is interested in learning about your product, get him in. Real quick side note, I'm about to offend a whole heck of a lot of y'all right now, so you may want to turn off. Otherwise, I'm going to keep going. I don't care if it's at night. I don't care if it's on a weekend. Don't delay. Strike while the iron is hot. Most clients are intelligent and want to make an appointment, but you know that there are some that want the facts now. There are impulse buyers out there, and they will turn against you if you make them wait. Hate to say it, it's just the daggum truth. Strangely, the same goes for most controllers. By that I mean people that want to control every aspect, the ultimate micromanager, and you know them. They tend to be very successful and very wealthy people, and some of our very best clients. I'm amazed how often I hear salesmen state that they have something more important. My son has a football game. My daughter has a basketball game. We have a play at the school. I've got dinner with the family. We have to go to church. All these priorities. I have a responsibility to a friend. This is my personal time. There's one of you, if you're watching this and you know who you are, that I'm a professional organization. I work from 9 to 5. If you can't meet with me 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, then you probably can't handle building your own house. Shut up. That is the dumbest thing I ever heard. If you have someone who is open to gaining the knowledge you have to give and is willing to come meet with you, redo your schedule. Meet with them when you can. If your highest priority isn't what you're selling, then please do not call yourself a salesperson, and that's okay. There's a few of y'all watching this that are going to have to accept the fact you are not a salesperson. You are a clerk. It's okay to be a clerk. There is a huge need for clerks, but you're a glorified clerk, and if you're making more than $10 an hour, you're overpaid. Maybe in some places in the nation you should be making 20. But if you're a 9 to 5 salesperson, you're a clerk. You can work here, you can work at Sears, you can work at Walmart. I don't care, that's what you do. And if you're making more than 10 and in some places $20 an hour, you're overpaid. And if you think you should be making $200,000 a year owning your franchise or selling what we sell, don't be ridiculous. There's no way to do it. You are here. This is your number one priority. I am overstating this a little bit. I know I am. I'm trying to make a point, but not too much. And you think I'm out of line, I'm going to give you a quote, and this may again offend a few of you. Matthew chapter 10, verse 37. He who loves his father or mother more than me is not worthy of me, and he who loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. And I'm going to say it. If Jesus looks at you and says, you got to put me, you got to put spreading the gospel, you got to put selling ahead of everything, I'm going to come back with the same. Let me try to temper this a little bit. You have to gain some wisdom and discernment. Now that I've made my point and I've made it overly harsh, I want to back up a little bit. You wouldn't miss your sister's wedding to give a sales presentation. All right? You're going to have some priorities. You need to have some wisdom. If this is everything, you're going to succeed beyond belief and you're going to fail in other areas of your life. Learn some balance. All right? You have to. I want you to. But my point has to hold. I find most people that use these excuses are snagging a crutch. There's a few of you that just heard me back off of those harsh statements and snagged that crutch and grabbed your security blanket and wrapped it around you. You're the ones I'm talking about. If you are grabbing that crutch, what you're doing is giving yourself excuses. You don't want the stress. You don't want to have to work hard. Beware that crutch and the death it leads to. When you find it, quote yourself Matthew 10:37 and apply it to helping others by sharing the knowledge and the gift of what you are selling to them. You're rising to a higher calling. That's okay. If your work is costing you your marriage, we have a priority issue. I don't think that's a problem. I don't think there are any of you out there that are working 70 to 80 hours a week. But sales is not a 40-hour-a-week job. It's a 50 to 60-hour-a-week job. And you have to meet it and go. Here's the beauty. If you're really running, if you're really grinding, if you're kicking, if you're meeting them when you need to, you know what's bizarre? It creates free time at other times. That afternoon when your kid does have a play, it's not even a question. You've got the hole to go at 3. Because you're not sitting around your office viewing yourself as a clerk working it that way. I'm getting lost. I'm going to move on. Another note on this topic, and I will move on. I knew a man once that told me, Bob, you don't understand. My family is all there is, and there is nothing else. I will never miss family time for work, blah, blah, blah. You know the speech. We all know the speech. Here was basically my response. Great. 2 things I want you to consider, though. Number 1, what is family time and what is work time? By the way, if you can answer that definitively, you are a clerk. Number 2, why work at all? I'm serious. This is basic wisdom, guys. What is family time and what is work time? And if family is everything, why work at all? Why not stay home all day, hug the kids, play with them, make love to your wife, enjoy the treasure of it? Why work at all? You work at all because you got to feed them. You work at all because there was a curse when we were cast out of Eden. And God said you're going to have to break the ground. You're going to have to fight it every day. You're going to have a battle to get through. We're not in heaven yet. We're not in utopia. Doesn't matter that what you want to do. I mean, I'd love to be able to live anywhere I want and be in paradise and sit around and play with the kids all day. But you have some responsibilities. And what you want to get out of that and what you want to provide for them, you got to figure out. But why are you working at all? Look, I knew a guy once, and I'm not judging this guy negative at all, and I know I'm getting a little bit off track here. He lived in a little cheap house and had little junk cheap cars that were real easy to work on, and he worked about 30 hours a week, and he made about $15 an hour, and they loved life. That was what he was after. That he worked for the basic minimum necessity. And they went home and they didn't care about things. It did not matter what kind of car they had. It did not matter where their kids went to school. Didn't have any desire for his children to go to college. They wanted to sit around and hug and play. I admire the guy. I love the guy. He was a friend. It's a great way to live. Why are you working? What is it you're trying to achieve and get out of it? And yes, I know I opened a huge can of words on the side of the other. I would challenge you at one level. You have a responsibility to, again, spread the wisdom and knowledge of what you have and know and get it out there. Answer that and figure out your balance, and this is done. That is the truth. Answer the question of why you work, figure out your balance, and you're there. And you know what? I ain't judging you if you want to be a clerk. I'm not. I'm going to tell you, though, if you own a franchise, you need to hire yourself a salesman because it is going to be very, very, very hard to make the living you need to make working this as a clerk. Let me stress, if you want to be a clerk, that is fine. I love clerks. I actually do. They're some of my best friends, but a clerk makes a salary. They don't get rich. They don't change the world. There's nothing wrong with being a layman who works, tithes, helps where he can. The thing is, I'm not training laymen. I'm training prophets. And a prophet makes sacrifices, and he has to give up some things in order to spread his message. A salesman, you want a biblical phrase for it, they were called prophets, and that's the truth. Take hold of instruction. Do not let go. Guard her, for she is your life. Do not enter the path of the wicked. Do not proceed in the way of evil men. Avoid it. Do not pass by it. Turn away from it and pass on. Beware of shortcuts. Beware of taking advantage of people. It will always cost you in the end. Now, don't be stupid. The client isn't always right. Sometimes you have to give them the win just because the cost is too high, but on the whole, they can be wrong. However, you must always be right. I had a chance. Yeah, I've got to go outside to make sense of that for a moment. You have to do the right thing. You have to be right. I don't care if the client's right. You have to be right. It doesn't matter if they have made the right decision. It doesn't matter down the process if they're upset with you. You have to be right. You have to do the right thing. Then you, from a position of purity and strength, can guide through and make the right decision. I got more there, but I got to get off of it because we're going too long. Where am I going to skip to? Avoid it, pass a little way. Don't let easy money seduce you. Pay the price. Do the work in the right way. You will live a great life as a salesman, and you will ultimately get more sales than you ever dreamt of. I'm going to end here. Chapter 6. Let's start at the end. Verse 34. For jealousy enrages a man, and he will not spare. Oh my goodness, nope. I'm going to save this for another day. That's good stuff. It really is. And we have gone too long, so I'm going to save it. We'll do chapter 6 next week. If I haven't offended you thoroughly, my apologies. We will do so later. If you have any questions, feel free to please give me a call. I hope there was something in there that you can get something from, but we definitely covered a lot of territory. I will try to get better, as I said, with cleaning it up and tightening it up. But thank you very much. See you in a week.